The Pentagon says a Russian-attacked aircraft repeatedly buzzed a U.S. military ship in the Black Sea over the weekend. At the same time, pro-Russian protest has erupted throughout eastern Ukraine, and in Washington, D.C., steps are being taken to stabilize the Ukrainian economy. White House correspondent Jessica Stones joins us now here in the studios with much more details.
And Phil, of course, as you know, in order to get that IMF and U.S. economic aid, Ukraine has agreed to tough financial reforms to its currency exchange rates and in its energy sector. On Monday, finance ministers from Ukraine and the United States signed loan guarantees to help Ukraine pay its debts. But this step comes at a time of escalating turmoil in the eastern half of the country. After a weekend of talks with International Monetary Fund donors, Ukraine's finance minister signed a $1 billion loan guarantee with the United States. Minister Oleksandr Shlapak also signaled Kiev's commitment to economic reform.
There is also a war against corruption, the war against economic irresponsibility, and the Ukrainian government is decisive in its aspiration to introduce economic, political, and financial reform.
But in many parts of eastern Ukraine, self-proclaimed local defense forces occupied Ukrainian government buildings over the weekend. Washington continues to accuse Moscow of causing the unrest.
It's not often that you suddenly have in a variety of cities all at the same time a bunch of men wearing military gear without insignias, including bulletproof vests.
We are not meddling in Ukraine's domestic affairs. This contradicts our interests. We don't have our agents there.
But America's top intelligence agent was in Kiev. The U.S. has confirmed the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, John Brennan, was in Ukraine's capital over the weekend. Former Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych accuses the CIA of being behind Ukraine's decision to threaten a military response. All of it comes as diplomats from Russia, Ukraine, the U.S. and EU prepare to meet April 17th for another attempt to de-escalate the crisis. The U.S. hasn't implemented additional sanctions, but Monday, European foreign ministers agreed to implement more asset freezes and visa bans against Russian nationals.
We have agreed among foreign ministers to expand the sanctions, the second tier of sanctions, and to add further names to those sanctions.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi says he wishes the upcoming talks every success. He will be meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Beijing on Tuesday and says, quote, a political solution is the only way out. Phil?
Jessica, I know you've been following these developments. There's been a significant discussion between the president of the U.S. and Russia. Anything new there?
Both countries did provide readouts to reporters, and I can tell you that Kremlin officials quoted Putin as saying that the American accusations that had been made repeatedly accusing the Russians of meddling in eastern Ukraine, he said, quote, those are speculations based on inaccurate information. Meantime, the White House says President Obama urged Putin to use his influence with the pro-Russian groups in eastern Ukraine to basically get them to depart those buildings that they've now occupied.
A lot of facts you're trying to keep track of. Jessica Stone, thank you very much.